Give astrology space to work its magic. Fundamental principle of our craft of astrology, in my view, is that we asphyxiate the symbolism by not being flexible and acknowledging a range of possible delineations for every symbol set. So Mars in Libra could be many things. It's not just locked action to the point of hurting someone. An extreme case is like action turned inward and we're just crazy or depressed. I mean, that's not what Mars in Libra only is. And sometimes there can be a tendency to lock in on one framework for a symbol set, and we rob it of the other side of the possible real positives of every energy. Mars in Libra could be action through diplomacy, could be making connections through people that are more powerful, could be acting through written agreements. Those are all very positive things. So we have to let the symbols assert meaning without trying to manage, mold, or determine what that meaning should be too closely. Now, it's useful to pick up a text and be well versed in the symbolism so we can sort of plan and have a working knowledge of some of the possible ideas. I like to work with people and say, we can go extremely positive, or we can look at something that appears challenging. What could those challenges potentially be? So for example, Mars in Libra, you might say, if you're feeling frustrated and having to go through other people, that's very Mars in Libra. It can be great, but it's also not quite as free or unrestrained as Mars might like to be. And that's okay. We can then acknowledge the difficulty we may be traversing with a particular transit. One of my favorite Robert Hand articles, an interview that he gave where he talked about Mars was transiting the chart. It was crossing the midheaven where he was. And the host that was hosting, I think it was in Britain, took him to the remains of an old Roman fort. And it was, he says, that kind of thing kept happening. It had nothing to do with my feelings of aggression or anything of the sort. So that Mars midheaven transit was not any kind of negative anything. Actually, the symbolism was perfectly captured by him being on a Roman fort on a work trip, an old military fort. So that's the kind of freedom when we let the symbols sing, we get these kind of wonderful experiences that aren't negative. I call it negative projecting. We don't negative project with your delineations, in my view. That can be very harmful. And I think too, sometimes the most literal astrology arrives when we aren't paying attention to it. I mean, when I started studying astrology, I went back to my life. I recommend this. Go back to your life, pull up your chart, go to the big events, see what was happening. And there was some darn literal stuff. I had no idea astrology even existed, and I'm living literal astrology. Little did I know. But there's something about letting the symbols breathe and the pleasure and joy and the expanded potentiality that can give us. So respect astrology by not predetermining its meaning and its manifestations. Respect it in that way. And I think your astrology will get better, and I think your ability to read for others will certainly be stronger because you'll be able to hold a larger container for their lives and the unfoldment of their lives. And it's just more of an honest, I think, and true way to engage with our astrology.